started now, I think, talking about Brazilian companies that are the new wave of fintechs. And first of all, congratulating Luis. 2 days ago, he announced a new round of his company. Congratulations. Brazilian unicorn, so congrats, Luis. Good job. And I'd like, first of all, for you guys to tell a little bit about your companies, explain to us, to everybody here. Igor, what is Cora?
Let me try. Watch me. Hi.
No?
Let's see.
Now I guess, yes. Cora, it's a new bank for small and medium companies because we believe that the engine power behind all of the nations are the small entrepreneur. Like in Brazil, they represent almost 75% of the Brazilian GDP. But even being so big, they don't have exactly right tools and instruments in order to operate their companies. And this is something that we are trying to build behind in order to support them, to free them to make the difference in our society. This is Cora in the end.
Great, excellent.
Thank you, Márcio. Pleasure to be here. So I'm one of the co-founders of Hashdex. We're a new breed of investment management company. So we're completely focused in what we like to call digital assets. We don't like the name cryptocurrencies. We can chat more about this. We were born in Brazil. We're a venture-funded company, so we've got VCs behind us. Originally we're a group of people completely passionate about the crypto technology and wanted to do something in the space, and also excited about giving the opportunity for everyone else, every type of investor, to gain exposure to this. And this is how Hashdex began. We're now in Brazil. We manage a number of mutual funds and ETFs. We've been able to launch the first crypto index ETF out of our own Brazilian B3, so we're extremely proud of this. I think we have over 250,000 investors now. And we're aiming for the world. So we've got something active going on in the US already and other things cooking in other geographies. So stay tuned for that.
Nice.
Great. Luis.
Hello. Oh. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much, Márcio. So I'm Luis, founder and CEO of CloudWalk. We are a payment processor in Brazil. Right now we're about to get 200,000 SMB merchants in more than 4,300 cities. In the last 24 months, we had like 5,000% growth, so we are one of the fastest payment companies in the whole LatAm right now. And basically, we are trying to fix one of the biggest problems we have in Brazil regards to payments. That is high fees, and the merchants, when they sell, they don't receive the money really fast. So money moves pretty slow in Brazil. Usually merchants, they have like 30 days to receive their money, and they pay up like to 45% in fees, so criminal fees. And we decided to fix that problem with technology. So our merchants receive money faster and cheaper. And also we love technology, so we are using a bunch of blockchain, machine learning to increase efficiency to our merchants. And that's it. So one of the fast growing companies. We just announced our Series C that became we became like $2.1 billion valuation company. And that was a huge milestone for the company, especially to our customers. So that's it.
Very nice, very nice. Congrats. Igor, you told me, when we talked about a few months ago, you told me that you were the fastest fintech growing in the small and medium business size in the world. Is that still the case? Like, how are we doing there?
We were, in the beginning of the year, we were looking for this market, and we are trying to understand where we will land if we reach 70,000 merchants in this year, in the end of this year. And then our investors, they made a very extensive poll, and we understood that if we get there, we would be the fastest growing neobank for small and medium companies in the world. And then we were trying to reach that, but unfortunately we couldn't reach exactly the same number. So we will end up with 120,000, a little bit more than this. So
Almost double. Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing. Bruno, how does a Brazilian company like with some you and Marcelo come to the US and properly reach $1 billion in assets under management, which is a lot of money in the crypto space, and develop an index with NASDAQ, a benchmark for crypto investing together with NASDAQ, and how does that happen? How are you able to reach that?
Not that easy.
So Marcelo mentioned Marcelo, my co-founder, and so we have built, a $1 billion asset manager in AUM out of Brazil, which I agree it's big, but when you look back at what other companies have been doing in Brazil in the last 10 years, it's like startups in Brazil have been doing amazing things. People would not believe what Nubank and Quintondar and Gympass and all the folks here. Of course, Luis. So I think it's part of what a lot of bold founders have been doing in Brazil, Márcio. And you mentioned the NASDAQ thing, which it was honestly a personal lesson for me, and I hope it serves somewhat of if not a lesson, an inspiration for entrepreneurs in Brazil and in the rest of Latin America, in that we often get asked this question. Like people come to you, how did you guys associate yourself with NASDAQ? Is it like the same NASDAQ that I know? And we go and say, it is. And it's, no, but that question in itself conveys that we still have this underdog complex in us, right? Which it's this, it's this meme we've created. And what happened with us is, we wanted to build this global player. We had a necessity of partnering with a world-class index provider. So we knew this because that would, we've dreamed about this ETF that we have for a long time. And, one of I like to think of it as a quality at Hashdex that we have is like we are almost irresponsibly optimistic. Okay, so we're like, who can we talk to? And, we did not shy away from going after NASDAQ. And the reality is when we knocked on their doors and say, we need to partner with a company to be an independent index provider for us, they were completely open to listening to us. As a matter of fact, they wanted to be in crypto. They wanted to look for someone who they could learn from. And they saw Hashdex as a partner that could give them that. And we simply persevered. It wasn't easy. Like all in all, I think it took us 2 years to finally lock that relationship with Márcio. But it did happen, and I shared with some of you in the last 24 hours or so. Throughout the process, they were, I get almost emotional thinking how they were impressed by the caliber of knowledge that we had in crypto and finance inside Hashdex, which made them, all the more likely to partner with us. So I think we did it mainly because we were able to put away that underdog complex that we usually have in Brazil. And I truly wish that every entrepreneur in Brazil is able to do this more and more because you can reach a lot more highs on that.
That's for sure. That's
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And Luis, you pivoted your company. You were like a technology provider for the payments processors in Brazil and acquirers, and you decided to go after them. What you made change your company and go in that direction?
Yeah, that's a great question. So initially we were like, the idea was to create a company like Stripe, providing APIs to acquirers and banks to process payments. So we spent like years and years creating like technology and selling technology as a service in Brazil to a bunch of well-known players. But in 2018, we decided to create our own acquirer called Infinite Pay. So we got licensed with Visa and MasterCard, and we started to sell straight to the SMB merchant. So the merchant, we saw that our technology was like being used but not really change like the society as we wanted. So it's decided to go straight to the SMB merchant, fix the problems that the merchant were facing on the daily basis, you know. So it was more kind of mission driven to use technology to improve the life of our merchants, our customers, and also the whole Brazilian economy, because when you start to fix problems like in the level we're fixing, everything becomes cheaper, the merchant has more cash flow, he can grow, hire more people, and everyone is happy. So we are happy, our investors are happy, customers happy, and it's a win-win-win, it's a virtual cycle. So that was like the main reason we decided to go and see. And of course we were making much more money because our money is much higher than before. So that is, I would say that the reasons.
Excellent. Igor, you are a second-time founder. How was that? The second time is easier? Can you share the experience of how to go about the second company and the feelings of selling your first company and then starting a new one?
I guess not only because I am a second timer, but I guess the whole market has changed a lot. If you see when we first found Moip in 2006 or 7, more or less, it was a completely different game because we didn't have all the attention. Like Latin America was kind of bad name for VCs here in the United States. Like we had, it was when I was fundraising for my first time in Moip, something happened here, something called a bank called Lehman Brothers has broken, and I was thinking like this. Piece of shit. I really don't care because those guys in the United States, what they would affect us, you know. So, but I was completely wrong about that because the whole market has broken and it was very hard. Just to give you a sense, we raised 500,000 reais and we gave away 60% of the company in that time. So, and because of that, we had many other problems because our cap table was terrible. It was hard to fundraise again, and you know this bad cycle was fully on us. So here it's not only about experience, because experience, I guess, it's also nice because the first thing that we have made right after Moip was, let's put it in written form, all the biggest mistakes that we have made in Moip, and let's be sure that we will not go for this again, you know, like on
What are the
purpose.
top ones?
Top ones, like, we must learn how to fundraise, of course. The second was, just to give you a sense, our first HR person in Moip, we hired when the company had more than 350 people. So the company was a mess. And we decided to do it in a completely different way. Like, it was just Leo and I, my co-founder and I, we were discussing how to open this new venture. And the very first person that we brought to Cora was the HR person, you know. And we are building together this company since the day one. So in the early days of Cora, we were just talking with customers and deciding who our culture framework, and it made a lot of sense for us. And even looking back, we can see how important it was for us, because we can see that all the people that we have in Cora, 260 people that we have in Cora today, all of them, they are there for the same purpose. They are there for the same. They have the same set of values. You know, the core values are there, and it makes a lot of difference because the company is very consistent. So this is one of the things, but I can tell you that there is
Probably a long story, but that's a good.
many other mistakes.
Bruno, why, as Hashdex, obviously you believe in crypto, and there's some very successful companies here that created ETFs in the US on Bitcoins, Ethereum. Why did you create an index? How this came about, and how do you explain that or sell that to customers?
So, I'll start with the why, and it was actually an early decision for us, and here's how it came about. We were passionate about giving access to this asset class to every stripe of investor. And in our minds, this is not an easy, technology or product, investment product to understand and accept. It was clear to us, Márcio, that the most easy thing to sell to these people, to convey to these people, is that there is an opportunity in getting exposure to the technology itself. So not just buying, you buy Bitcoin here or Ether there, etc. So it was clearly, very clear for us in the beginning that we needed to give people this opportunity to buy the market as a whole. Okay, so it starts with this, but we also didn't want to do this in an improvised way, right? And so it's passive investing. It's a trend that's been taking over investing across the world for decades now. Definitely in the US, it's growing larger and larger in Brazil. So we put the energy of building this robust passive investing product that followed an index that was super strong, super easy to foresee what would happen, because we knew that was going to be the easiest sell, the easiest way to convey to people how to gain exposure to crypto assets. So we ended up putting a lot of energy into building that index. Like we hired specialized people to build that index for us, and it turned out, Márcio, it was sort of like we aimed one way and we hit this other important thing, which is that, as most people either know or it will make sense as soon as I mention, like selling investment products in Brazil and I think around the world, it's very gated by distributors. Okay, so it turns out that distributors have a lot of say on what gets into. Well, you know this super well. You, Thomas, right? Gatekeeper right here. And anyway, so distributors, I think, for the benefit of their clients, they have a very high bar for the quality of products that get in there, right? So as soon we built this product to be amazing for customers, but it turned out that distributors, that was the first thing that they paid attention to. You guys have a passive investing product. What is the investment strategy? What is the index that it follows? When they saw that we had actually built this rigorous and formal, it's like an index is simple. Still, it depends a lot on a lot of rigor, on a lot of technology behind it. They were like, okay, so this is something that I will let inside my platform here. I'll put on my shelf. So we aimed on building this what we call institutional grade product for clients. It turned out that it was a key part of having it available in distributors. So when you look at our products now in Brazil at Hashdex, we're available at every important independent distributors and the large banks as well. That's really what's enabled us to reach all the people we had dreamed about reaching. And it was because early on, we took the time, we put the energy into building that index and making it really robust.
Excellent. And speaking of crypto, Luis, I think your strategy is based on the technology as well, like how to simplify and incentivize and make it cheaper for our customers. So how do you go about that in your line of business?
Yeah, I say that money should move at speed of light. So we are working towards moving money at speed of light, and then faster than light, but you're not there yet. And blockchain really helps to move money faster. So if you compare traditional payments, it takes T+1, T+2, T+30 to settle the operation. And blockchain takes T+4 seconds. And basically it's free, so you just pay gas fees when you're transferring tokens. And we just released it to our merchants and shoppers stablecoin. It's a ERC20 token, it's called Brazilian Digital Real. So every time a shopper make a purchase in our payment network, they receive this stable coin, and then they can use this stable coin to pay to other shoppers or other merchants in the payment network. So, and comparing that like with traditional payments, that takes like days to authorize, settle, clear the payment, now take like a couple of seconds, and it's marginal, like zero, and all the cost is zero. So that's one thing we are doing. Also, we are doing smart lending. So we are loaning money to the merchants, the merchants we have on our network. And this lending is based in blockchain as well. So we created a credit protocol that's running blockchain. And for the merchant, our user, they don't care about blockchain, crypto, all this stuff. They don't give like a shit about that. They just want money faster and cheaper. So we create a beautiful user experience on top of that. But if you look under the hood, we are using blockchain heavily. And that enables like other institutional partners, credit suppliers to provide capital on the network in a super easy way. So I'd say that comparing like the financial industry right now, it's kind of the internet before year 2000. You know, it's pretty old, slow, takes a bunch of time. And now with blockchain, we're entering a new era where you have high bandwidth internet everywhere. And you're going to see a huge revolution. I think blockchain is going to replace the whole financial industry in the next 5 years, 5 to 10 years.
Amen.
That's I take for granted. It's going to replace all payment processors, acquirers, and then banks. Everything's going to become a protocol in distributed networks. And I think there is no way back, for sure. And even the young people, they love that tokens and all this stuff. But if you look at the utility of the technology, technology like platforms, infrastructure, is super powerful. It's really crazy what we're going to see in the next 5 to 10 years. And our company is going to that direction. So we are aiming to create a global payment network in this planet Earth, and maybe in Mars as well pretty soon.
Whoever is doing it, is anyone of your competitor? I know Brazilians are not doing, but globally, is someone else there way more? You create a new path for everybody.
Like we're the only companies in the whole planet who are trying to join like these two words, like traditional payment processing with blockchain networks, not centralized way. I'd say Square together with Cash App, there's something similar, but we are beyond that. There's Circle as well, who create USDC and they provide some payment service, but we are beyond that as well. So we are mixing like we are a different monster. We're mixing different pieces, but fixing a real problem for the merchants who want to receive money faster and cheaper. So it's kind of, what you are doing is kind of different. We can compare us with other peers, but in the end of the day, it's pretty different.
That's very interesting. I think Igor, I'm going to ask you something that to all of you that it's funny, and you've been in the payment industry for a long time. I think the regulator in Brazil played a central role in the emergency of all of you and all of you before you, in the sense of allowing new experiments to go through, new things happening. And how you've been through that, to the phase of the evolution. How do you see that? Can you have any comments about the regulator? And I think there are examples of all phases there.
It was amazing because I guess we are here just because of them, you know. Because at first in Brazil we had a very turbulent era when we had Itaú buying Unibanco, and we saw with this fusion that the market would be even more concentrated. But from now on, from this day on, the central bank entered in a crusade to open up the market for competition. And we are proud of this, you know, because of this crusade, the regulations has changed, the opportunity has been created for all the players, and it is amazing how smart they are playing the regulator, because they are in the same time very humble. They are testing the water. Like I recall many times that central bank, I was in central bank explaining the industry, and if they move to this direction, they should hurt somebody, and if they go for the one, would be a nicer way to go. So they were very, very open to discuss, to understand deeper how the market worked. And it's paying off. I guess that all this revolution that we are seeing is just because of this openness, this mindset that they have created there.
For sure, yes. And Bruno, I think that's why you have maybe the first ETF, one of the first ETF approved in the world was in Brazil, correct?
Correct. Yeah. In a country where the public sector doesn't always help us, I think it's important to recognize when it does. I'll speak on the perspective of Hashdex. We're a highly regulated business, as I believe both of you are. So we have to interact a lot with the CVM, so the local SEC, ANBIMA, which is an auto regulatory body, but still has a lot of say and oversight over us. I would not have anticipated when we first founded Hashdex how much openness, I thought it would be a lot harder, how much openness to our ideas, to learning from us. Regulators at CVM, and especially CVM and ANBIMA, whom I dealt with, but from afar, I've seen how the Bacen and the CNN have been instrumental in enabling this Fintech revolution we've been seeing since 2012 or so. So it's been like, when you think of it, Brazil was able to launch the first crypto index ETF in the world. And it's not a small product. Like, this is a product that it's comparable in size to products in sophisticated financial markets such as Canada, Switzerland. The U.S. a few weeks ago, they launched a Bitcoin ETF. Some of you may follow. That's a pretty big product. But the U.S. they've got a heavy hand on this. But then again, I think a lot of our, we've been able to give to Brazilian investors, we owe to the openness of the regulators, especially in our case, the CVM and ANBIMA, for sure.
Excellent. And Luis, are they ready for BRL coin?
Good question.
Yeah, our coin is called Brazilian Digital Real, so BRLC. We were inspired by USDC from Circle. And we know that central bank is working on the central bank issued coin as well, and smart contracts. So I think I'm super proud of the Brazilian central bank. I think we have one of the best central banks in the whole planet right now, regards to technology and inclusion. The PIX was a huge success, and it's growing insanely fast. And we are seeing a bunch of discussions about path forward to PIX and other stuff. So I think I'm proud and working the same direction together with the central bank in Brazil, and pretty soon exporting technology from Brazil, the payment technology to US and Europe. So I think Brazilians have a bunch of stuff to teach about financial industry to other countries, and it's a super great moment, I think.
Yep, very, very.
Yeah.
Of course.
Just something. Yesterday I was looking to a chart that compares the UPI in India and the PIX, both in dollars, and PIX with way less time. We have surpassed the volume in India. So
Yeah,
I guess it was an amazing goal.
Yeah, I saw that discussion from central bank. They were looking for blockchain ledger technology, and basically PIX is doing 7,000 transactions per second. So they couldn't find any technology support the PIX level. And we need to create our own ledger. So that's kind of the work we are doing at Brazil.
Amazing.
Excellent. So we need to kind of start to wrap up here. I'm going to quickly start asking, what is the future for Cora? You've been so successful since the launch. What is the next year next few years for you? They go very fast. So
Let me tell you, we are here to make a better Brazil. It will take time. and we are not concerned about the next 1 or 2 years. This is the long-term game, and we are here to build this. And maybe it's another thing that be a second time, because nowadays we are not concerned about this timing, like have to have some profits tomorrow in order to accomplish something. So this is the goal, and we are patiently building up step by step.
And on Hashdex, I know coming to the US would be a big important step.
Yeah,
if they allow us to have it here. We
just need to launch officially, but I'd say we have two vectors. I think there's a lot of things we can do and want to do in Brazil. Like I think the whole world is still just scratching the surface in crypto, in terms of offering investment products. We want to be able to. Sorry, we want Brazilian investors to be able to invest in any thesis that exists in crypto with all the quality that Hashdex brings. So we have a number of products in the pipeline that we're going to follow the steps of what we've done before: simple, secure, and regulated products across theses in crypto. And we've got global missions too, and we not because of our ego. And we're in a way, Hashdex is in the game of passive asset management, and scale is a huge differentiator for our business. Crypto is a global market, so we feel like we can't shy away from being the global stage. So that's what we put so much energy on that.
And Luis, before getting to Mars, like what's the next step? Follow.
So get to the whole planet Earth. So that's next 2 years, like we are working pretty hard to be #1 in market share in Brazil. So we have technology, a lot of technology in AI, blockchain. It seems like buzzwords, but we're really using that like to increase efficiency, dozens of times. So create a global payment network, that's our goal, that's our mission. And we know that's going to take some time, but definitely you're going to be everywhere else, like in all the countries in the planet for our payment network. That's the goal.
Great.
Can I have the audience have some questions?
Yeah, 2 questions only, sorry.
Okay.
2 questions.
There is one. They don't have questions, so
They have.
we're fine. No, they don't.
We aced it.
No, I have one more meanwhile until they think about it. Talking about, I think one of the questions that I would also is like about the actual technology, because you tell me you're doing a lot with much less people, Luis as well, and as competitors, and I know Bruno, they are very efficient as well. I don't know how top notch is your technology. Say like you tell me, I went to another bank to benchmark myself, and I have 6 people doing the work of 100 in the other neobank as well, not a Itaú. And Luis as well is a very small company in the number of people working on it. How do you see that, the scalability of your business, both of you, I think?
This is the future. I guess like the only thing that we care about is this, because in the long term we'll survive. We know that for this fighting in banking, all the price goes down, and the only way to be efficient and to be there in the long term is to have the smallest cost to serve. This is what we are working every single day in order to accomplish. So this is mandatory in order to accomplish what we are.
So I would say that, like, let me give you an example about fraud. So you're benchmarking our fraud models against a company that just do fraud, one of the biggest players in Europe. And we got like our models were 10 times better than their models. And they asked, how many people do we have doing this kind of models? And we said like 3. No, you're joking. No, it's just 3. And they have like 200. But what they're doing, we are using artificial evolution and genetic algorithms. There is a bunch of pretty cool technology. So technology really changes, like technology evolves at exponential rate. And our brains, human brains, they have a hard time to figure out exponential curves. We are more linear. And if you look at, for example, SpaceX, if you look at the whole evolution to send a payload outside Earth, it's become cheaper towards marginal zero cost, and payments is going to happen exactly the same with technology. So we're looking at all these trends and try to figure out the next 5 to 10 years, how can you use these trends to be insanely efficient and operate like 200 billions of people with just 100 of humans and a bunch of AIs.
Nice.
That's very cool. That's very. I think we can finish with that. It's a great note to finish. Thank you, everybody. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Luis and Bruno. It's great to have you back.